Welcome to English Learning Academy. Today, we have an exciting science fiction mystery for you. This story is about a young mind reader, a man with a very unusual ability. Sometimes it was a terrible burden, and one day it would put his life in danger. So sit back, listen carefully, and enjoy the story. And remember, while you listen, you are also learning English. Daniel Carter was 24 years old. He was intelligent, quiet, and observant. He worked for a special government organization called the Interstellar Security Agency. Daniel had a secret. He could read people's minds. He worked for a special government organization called the Interstellar Security Agency. Daniel had a secret. He could read people's minds. He could not always hear every thought clearly. Sometimes he only felt a person's emotions. Sometimes he heard a few words. And sometimes he could hear an entire thought as clearly as if someone had spoken aloud. Daniel had learned to keep this ability secret. He knew that people were afraid of things they did not understand. One morning, Daniel was sitting alone in his office. Suddenly he heard a voice. "Someone is coming." Daniel looked around. Nobody was there. He realized that the voice was not coming from outside. It was coming from someone's mind. A few seconds later, his office door opened. A tall man walked inside. His name was Commander Blake. "Daniel," he said, "I need to talk to you." Daniel looked at him carefully. Then he heard another thought. Do not tell him everything. Daniel became curious. "Is something wrong, Commander?" Blake closed the door. "Yes," he replied. "There is a dangerous secret organization operating across several planets." Daniel's face became serious. "What do they want?" Blake looked directly at him. "They want control." "Control of what?" "The entire Federation." Commander Blake placed a small metal box on the table. Inside the box was a photograph. Daniel looked at it. There were 5 people in the picture. "Who are they?" he asked. "We don't know all of their identities," Blake said. "But we know that they are connected to a man called Victor Kane." "Who is Victor Kane?" "He calls himself a leader." Daniel stared at the photograph. Blake continued. "He has powerful friends, secret factories, private soldiers, and a huge amount of money." Daniel frowned. "That sounds dangerous." "It is more dangerous than you think." Blake opened another file. "We believe Kane is secretly building a space fleet." Daniel's eyes widened. "A fleet?" "Yes." "And why?" "To attack the Federation." Daniel was silent. Blake leaned forward. "We have already sent 2 agents to investigate. What happened to them?" "They disappeared." Daniel understood. "And now you want me to go?" Blake nodded. "Yes." Daniel looked at the photograph again. Then he asked, "What will happen if they discover my ability?" Blake answered quietly, "You will probably die." For a moment neither man spoke. Then Daniel smiled slightly. "When do I leave?" Daniel could not travel as himself. The enemy knew about government agents. So the agency created a new identity for him. His new name was David Cole. He was supposed to look like an ordinary businessman. He would travel to a distant planet called Orion 7. There, he would search for information about Victor Kane. Before leaving, Commander Blake gave him one final warning. "Daniel, you must remember one thing." "What?" "Trust no one." Daniel smiled. "Not even you?" Blake laughed. "Especially not me." Daniel left Earth that evening. As his spaceship disappeared into the darkness of space, he looked through the window. He knew that he might never see Earth again. 3 days later, Daniel arrived on Orion 7. The planet was beautiful. Tall silver buildings reached into the sky. Flying vehicles moved between them. Thousands of people walked through the streets. But Daniel felt something strange. Fear. Almost everyone around him seemed nervous. He entered a small cafe. A waiter came to his table. "What would you like, sir?" "Coffee, please." The waiter smiled. But Daniel suddenly heard his thought. He is not an ordinary customer. Daniel looked at him. The waiter quickly walked away. Daniel became alert. Someone was watching him. He looked around the cafe. At the far end of the room, a man in a black coat was sitting alone. Daniel tried to read his mind. Nothing. There was complete silence. Daniel was shocked. For the first time in his life, he could not hear someone's thoughts. The man slowly looked at him. Their eyes met. Then the man smiled. Daniel knew one thing immediately. He had found someone dangerous. That evening, Daniel followed the man. The man entered a large building. Daniel waited outside. After a few minutes, he entered too. Inside, he saw many people. They were talking quietly. Daniel listened to their thoughts. Then he heard something terrifying. "The fleet will be ready in 2 months." Another thought followed. "When the fleet is ready, the Federation will fall." Daniel's heart began to beat faster. He finally understood the truth. The organization was real, and it was much bigger than the agency had imagined. Then someone spoke behind him. "You should not be here." Daniel turned around. It was the man from the cafe. "My name is Victor Kane," the man said. Daniel remained calm. "I think you have made a mistake." Kane smiled. "No. I think you have made the mistake." Victor Kane did not arrest Daniel. Instead, he offered him a job. "You are intelligent," Kane said. "I can see that." Daniel said nothing. Kane continued. "Join me." "Why?" "Because the old government is weak. And you are going to replace it?" "Not replace it," Kane smiled. "Control it." Daniel pretended to be interested. But inside, he was thinking carefully. He needed information. So he accepted Kane's offer. From that day, Daniel entered the enemy's world. He attended secret meetings. He visited hidden factories. He saw soldiers training in underground buildings. And every day he learned more. But there was one problem. Victor Kane could not be read. Daniel could hear almost everyone's thoughts. But Kane's mind was completely silent. Daniel began to wonder, who is this man? One night, Daniel discovered something terrible. Behind the factories was a large underground complex. Hundreds of people were working there. They looked exhausted. They were prisoners. Daniel quietly asked one of them, "Who are you?" The man looked frightened. "We are workers from another planet. Why are you here?" "We were brought here against our will." Daniel looked around. The prisoners were building machines. Huge machines. Daniel realized that these machines were parts of the new space fleet. He felt angry. But he knew he could not act too quickly. If the enemy discovered his real identity, everyone would suffer. So he made a plan. Daniel had another unusual ability. He could sometimes connect with animals. When he was younger, he had discovered that animals had simple but powerful thoughts. A dog could feel fear. A bird could feel danger. A horse could feel anger. Daniel had learned how to send simple mental signals to them. Now he decided to use this ability. Near the factory, he found a small dog. The dog belonged to one of the guards. Daniel gently touched its head. "Help me," he whispered. The dog looked at him. Daniel sent a mental message. "Find the entrance." The dog ran away. A few minutes later, it returned. Daniel followed it. The dog had found a hidden door. Behind that door was something much more important. A secret control room. Daniel entered the control room. On the wall was a huge map of space. Several planets were marked in red. Daniel understood the plan. Victor Kane was not planning to attack just one planet. He wanted to attack many planets at the same time. The Federation would be too busy defending itself. Then Kane would take control. Daniel secretly photographed the map, but suddenly, the lights came on. Someone shouted. Daniel ran. Guards chased him through the corridors. He reached a door. It was locked. The guards were getting closer. Then Daniel heard something, not a human thought. A bird. A small bird was flying outside the window. Daniel connected with its mind. Fly to the tower. The bird flew toward the tower. Daniel followed its movement mentally. Then he noticed a control panel near the window. He pressed a button. The door opened. Daniel escaped. Daniel returned to his room. He was exhausted. But he had learned something important. Kane was not working alone. Someone else was giving him information. Someone inside the Federation government. Daniel needed to discover who that person was. The next day, he attended another secret meeting. Kane entered the room. Everyone became silent. Then Kane spoke. In 2 weeks we will begin. Daniel listened carefully. In 2 weeks, Kane continued, the Federation will belong to us. Suddenly, Daniel heard a thought from someone behind him. The government will never know. Daniel turned around. He recognized the man. It was a senior government official. Daniel finally understood. The conspiracy had reached the highest levels of government. That night, Daniel tried to send a message to Commander Blake. But before he could finish, someone entered his room. 3 guards were standing there. Victor Kane walked behind them. Kane looked at Daniel. You have been very busy. Daniel remained silent. You entered the control room. Daniel said, I don't know what you're talking about. Kane smiled. You are a terrible liar. Daniel tried to read his mind. Still nothing. Then Kane said, I know who you really are. Daniel's heart stopped for a moment. You are Daniel Carter. The guards grabbed him. Daniel was trapped. Daniel was taken to an underground prison. His hands were tied. The room was dark. A guard stood outside the door. Daniel closed his eyes. He tried to think calmly. He remembered the animals. Then he heard something. A tiny scratching sound. A mouse was inside the wall. Daniel reached out mentally. Come closer. The mouse moved toward him. Daniel connected with its mind. He could see through its eyes. The mouse moved through a small hole in the wall. Daniel discovered a ventilation system. There was a security room nearby. He also discovered that one of the guards was sleeping. Daniel waited. Then he sent a mental signal to the mouse. The mouse pulled a small wire. The alarm system stopped. The door unlocked. Daniel escaped. He ran through the underground complex. He knew he had very little time. The fleet would soon be ready. If he could not stop Kane, millions of people could die. He reached the main control room. Victor Kane was there. So, Kane said, you escaped. Daniel looked at him. It is over, Kane. Kane laughed. No, Daniel, it is only beginning. Behind him were hundreds of screens. The space fleet was ready. Daniel looked at the screens. Then he smiled. You forgot something. What? Your machines. Kane looked confused. Daniel had secretly changed the control codes. The fleet could no longer receive Kane's commands. One by one, the ships shut down. Kane stared at the screens. What have you done? Daniel answered. I used your own system against you. Suddenly, Cain attacked Daniel, but Daniel was ready. He tried once again to enter Cain's mind. This time, he succeeded. And what he discovered shocked him. Cain was not working for himself. A mysterious alien intelligence had been guiding him. The alien wanted to control the Federation. Cain was only its human servant. Daniel understood the real danger. He immediately sent the information to Commander Blake. The Federation fleet arrived soon afterward. Cain's organization was defeated. The prisoners were freed. The secret factories were destroyed. And the planned invasion never happened. Weeks later, Daniel returned to Earth. Commander Blake met him at the space station. "You did well," Blake said. Daniel smiled. "Did we win?" Blake looked at him. "Yes." Then he handed Daniel a small envelope. "What is this?" "Your new assignment." Daniel laughed. "Already?" Blake smiled. "I'm afraid so." Daniel opened the envelope. Inside was a photograph of another planet. Another mystery. Another dangerous mission. Daniel looked at the stars. He knew his strange ability would continue to make his life difficult. But now he understood something. His ability was not a curse. It was a responsibility. He could hear the thoughts of many people. He could understand their fears, their hopes, their secrets. And if he used his gift wisely, he could help people. Daniel looked toward the endless sky. Then he whispered, "Maybe having many minds around me isn't such a bad thing after all." Vocabulary review. Before we finish, let's learn some useful words from today's story. Ability, a skill or power to do something. Secret, something that is hidden from other people. Mission, an important task or assignment. Conspiracy, a secret plan made by several people. Enemy, someone who wants to harm you or fight against you. Prisoner, a person who is kept somewhere and cannot leave. Escape, to get away from a dangerous or controlled place. Control, the power to direct or manage something. Dangerous, likely to cause harm. Responsibility, something that you are expected to take care of. Now, let's remember one important sentence. A special ability becomes a true gift when we use it to help others. Thank you for watching English Learning Academy. If you enjoyed learning English through this story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell. Keep listening, keep learning, and keep improving your English every day. See you in our next story. Goodbye.